Hi. Now tell me about
Should
your
we
stuff.
turn around and do it so we're looking at my stuff?
Yes, totally. and tell me about some of the oils that you create.
Okay, so most of the oils, let's go to the testers. One of my biggest sellers and favorite oil is called Comfort Oil, and it's an anti-inflammatory, so you rub it in your skin if you have arthritis or joint ache or pains. A lot like now they're touting the CBD oil, but this actually is, I believe, works better, and so do the people that I know that use it. And it soaks in really well. Well, I used a little much, but
And which one is it?
this is called Comfort Oil. So it's this one. And it's got St. John's wort oil in it, mugwort, calendula, and St. John's wort, mugwort, calendula, and arnica oil are in it. And then it has a slight scent, which is a pleasant scent. And that's probably my biggest selling oil. And then I have another oil here that's, I have an arnica oil, just a plain arnica. And then I have an amber massage oil, and then an amber orange. And the amber massage oil was the first oil I ever made to sell.
Tell me about that. So you create these from scratch?
Yes, well, not scratch. Turn, you have a gentleman looking at your stuff. You'll want to, or in my stuff.
Nice.
So I'm a generational herbalist. My great-grandmother was an herbalist, and her great-grandmother and her great-grandmother before her. And I believe 4 generations down is as much as I can trace. We're essentially Gypsy Jews, which most people don't know that was a sect of Judaism. But a lot of the Gypsies became Catholic very quickly when Stalin was in rule and when Hitler became after Stalin. So it's hard to trace that lineage back. But I come from a lineage where I'm trained through my great-grandmother, and I was trained as an herbalist through the oral tradition. So nothing was ever written down. You had to memorize everything. And I started that at a really young age. I never considered myself to be an herbalist until I was in my 30s. I never thought I would be selling herbs. This was in the 80s when I started, and most people except for midwives and naturopaths, and there were very few naturopaths around back then, knew anything about herbs. So my clientele base was very small. And
you create the labels?
I create
everything.
I make all of the products. I make all of the labels. The only thing I don't make in this booth right now is the essential oils and the hair dye and the ceramics.
Wow.
Everything else I make. Each recipe was developed usually for a reason. Like, let's walk over to the teas here. My son is a pre-insulin diabetic, and I created this tea last year called Balancing Tea. And what it does is it helps to balance out your system and balance out your blood sugar. And for Koya, my eldest son, it's worked so well that he is not insulin dependent, and he's able to live a pretty healthy, normal life with diabetes, but pre-insulin diabetics.
Wow.
And so
You're amazing.
thank you.
Yeah.
And then so each one of these teas are my blends. I developed all of these blends over the years. So I've been in business 35 years. So it's a long time, and at one point I owned a retail store. And so I would have customers come in and ask for things. The calming tea is a perfect example.
That's fascinating. Yeah, I knew I wanted to interview you. This is just fascinating.
Here, turns.
And you have a school.
Let me
That's
pause
okay.
that right now.
Yeah.
Thanks. Do you ladies need some help? Oh, just kind of look. Here, could you move so that these ladies can do my...
there are all sorts of different oils for all sorts of elements. It's just really nice. And this is Public Interest Issue Show. And she's
Okay, but he'll have to reapply.
Mountain Spirit Herbals.
Okay. Well, I did it last year. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no. Well, I didn't realize I had